Okay, so one of my very favorite sales books is Lessons from 100,000 Cold Calls. I think the guy that wrote the book is called Stuart Rogers, but I might have the name wrong. It might be someone else, but that's who I think wrote the book. Um, it's absolutely one of my very favorite sales and business books of all time. Definitely like one of my very favorite books. So now, in the book, he kind of shares the lessons from him making over 100,000 cold calls. Now think about that, all right? If you make 100,000 cold calls, it's really gonna make you like a genius of cold calling, right? You're gonna be able to cold call so well, and you're gonna make a ton of money, right? Like it's clear you're gonna do really well. Now, in my journey as an SDR, sales development representative, business development representative, BDR, I haven't made 100,000 cold calls, or I haven't gone that far. But what I have done is, in the time that I've been making cold calls, I've made 1,000 cold calls. I've made over 1,000 cold calls, and I just not so long ago, I didn't actually think I would ever probably ever make 1,000 cold calls. Um, when it comes to cold outreach, right? I had done more so cold email, some DMs, and things like that. And that was kind of the extent of my journey in cold outreach until I kind of started getting more into sales roles and kind of working in actual sales and having to sell products, which brought me to actually having to get on the phone and be on the cold call. And so at this point, I've now made over 1,000 cold calls, and so I've gained some interesting lessons. Now, this is not lessons from 100,000 cold calls. This is just lessons from 1,000 cold calls. Like this is like small steps compared to 100,000 cold calls. Now, if you can get to 100,000 cold calls, guys, I would encourage you to really go out there and dial your way there, because it's gonna do great things for your sales. It's gonna do great things for your income. It's gonna do great things for your sales ability. It's gonna do amazing things for your business. Um, and so the beginning steps, though, lessons from 1,000 cold calls. So the first of these is that I did like lessons from 100 cold calls when I had actually completed 100 cold calls. So these lessons now from 1,000 cold calls are gonna be a little bit more advanced, hopefully, than the lessons I had after 100 cold calls. So the first of the lessons from 1,000 cold calls is gonna be cold calling is communication, is intensive communication. So what it is people like to focus on the code of cold calling. So you get revved up, and hopefully that's where the lessons I had for you guys at 100 cold calls kind of dealt with that, you know. But now at 1,000 cold calls, I'm now telling you that the thing is more so that cold calling is intensive communication. So you kind of really need to focus more so on the communication and not on the code. And that's an insight that somebody that's made thousands of cold calls will have, is that it almost pretty much doesn't matter that it's a cold call as compared to any other call. If you can make it sound and seem and feel like any other call that people might be receiving or having in the course of a day, you're gonna do so much better. So just realize it's intensive communication. Sure, there's something a little bit special in that we're making a ton of these calls. So it's intensive communication, which means it's professional communication. It's just like a chef that works at a three-star restaurant or however many star restaurant, in your local city. When he is cooking in the restaurant, he is not making just one helping of anything. So in that sense, it's a bit more special, in that it's a special arrangement compared to him just cooking at home, in that there's a lot more going on. You might be making this same dish like, uh, you know, 10 times a day, 10, maybe 20 times a day, like this special dish. You might be preparing it 20 times a day, and it's being, delivered up and served up across many different plates. It's serving people like, dozens and dozens of people each day. So it's intense. It's something that's professional, intensive. So it still has the characteristics of the homemade, but it's just special in that now it's being done at scale. It's being done intensively in volume. So that's the big lesson: is that this cold calling is just intensive communication. But that's all it is. It's just communication, and we just happen to be doing a lot of it. So if you can make it just like any other call, and not psych yourself out or the prospect out, and just focus on the communication, you're gonna get so much further. And then lesson number 2 is that if you just keep making the calls, you are gonna get better. Like, it's inevitable. So a lot of people are focused on things like tonality, focused on things like the script, focused on things like how do I sound, focused on things like, oh, that guy hung up on me, focused on things like, oh, this person doesn't seem to like me, focused on, oh, I gotta get him to like me. Like, you're focusing on 1,000 different details, but those details are not really gonna hold you back from progressing as a cold caller, and from improving your skills, and even from getting sales or getting results, if you just keep making the calls. So the solution to getting great at cold calling, guess what the solution is? It's literally just to make more cold calls. In that respect, it's kind of like learning how to run the ball in the game of football. If you want to get great at running the game, running the ball, guess what the answer to that is? It's just to run the ball. It's to just have more attempts, have more carries. You have the quarterback give you the ball, and you run the ball down the field, and you are going to get tackled, and you are going to fall down. Hopefully not fumble the ball, but even if you fumble the ball, who cares? You just got to keep trying it again on the next go around. Just keep running the ball more and more times. After you've run the ball 100 times, you're going to be better than when you had just done one. And after you've done it 1,000 times, guess what? You're going to be so much better than you were when you did it 100 times or when you did it just once. So just doing it over and over again is literally how you're going to get great at this game. Now the final lesson from 1,000 cold calls is that it's kind of like learning the game of football. After you've gained some experience, the game is gonna slow down a little bit for you. Before, everything was hitting you in the head, like people are tackling you and pushing you. The minute the quarterback gives you the ball, somebody is tackling you and you're falling down. You're like, you can't even see like who tackled me and where did they come from? Where did that guy come from? How did that guy get in position to be able to tackle me? Like, how come 3 guys just suddenly appeared, and how come a guy actually appeared behind me and is hitting me from behind? The second you get the ball, so much is happening. That's what happens to you as a rookie, and that's why you're so ineffective, because everything is happening too fast. Now, after you've done it a bunch of times, you've done it 1,000 times, guess what? Now the game slows down just a little bit. Now you can actually see those 3 guys over there as the ball is being snapped out to you. You can actually spot those 3 guys over there, and you can see like, okay, these guys are trying to get past that lineman over on the left side, and I kind of see that big guy trying to get past the tight end and is gonna probably like blitz the quarterback, and he's gonna come after me if I get the ball. And now, because you're able to see these things in an instant a little bit better, now you can actually see, okay, so as soon as I get the ball, I gotta run wide out to the right. There's a little bit of space. And to your surprise, now you get your first 10-yard run, your first 20-yard run, and those guys finally tackle you, but you actually broke through and had a decent carry for like 20 yards, and all the fans are going, this is insane. I said, okay, this team is running the ball. It's actually running the ball well. Like, you actually get some, because you now manage to slow the game down, but that only happens after you've done it 1,000 times. The same thing with cold calling. After you've done it 1,000 times, now when you get the prospect on the call and they're like, no, I'm not interested. Now, before they say that, you actually got to see and you actually got to observe certain things from their tonality and the way they're talking to you, like, okay, this guy wants to get off the phone. They don't want to talk anything. So you actually have insights about why they, like, they're not saying no to your product. Now you actually know, like, this guy is not really a prospect. He's just answering the phone because he probably thought it was somebody else. Like, he's probably waiting for someone else. Like, so that no, you don't actually take serious. Like, okay, whatever, man. It's whatever. It doesn't really concern me because he's not even waiting to hear about my product, so he's not actually saying no to my product. I'm not gonna get any hang-ups about this guy hanging up on me. I'm totally okay with it. Whereas before, at one cold call, all you had was, hey, I called the guy and they just hung up on me. I'm calling these people. It was all happening too fast on you, and you had no space, no understanding to be able to slow down the film a little bit and actually know, like, oh, these people are not actually prospects. But that one lady I spoke to that asked me a question about the product I have, that was actually potentially a prospect for my product or my sales. So these are the advantages you're gonna have after 1,000 cold calls, and it's only gonna increase, right? Like, after 5,000 cold calls, the game slows down even more for you, where you actually understand things so much better. After 10,000 calls, you've been absolute legendary type of guy in the game. So those were the lessons, and you can follow along just to check out more of my lessons as I keep the cold calls going.